Oh, I don't think I have much time, but hello, 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 my darling. Thank you for joining me on A Slice of Life, A Slice of Life. I forgot to check this, but I got enough time to get this done. How are you? I hope you had a great holiday. Anyway, I want to talk to you tonight about She Did Not Flinch. How many of you saw on Facebook a picture of myself when I was a senior at Spelman College? They used that picture as we talked about She Did Not Flinch. When I was burned on the arm, I did not flinch. And so I want to talk about the 4th of July. I found myself looking at two photographs. I looked at a photograph of me, and the other one was from this week also. But I looked at myself. I was like, God, you did look pretty good back there, girl. Well, it's hard to look at this face and look at that face too, but that's life. Anyway, so I was barely out of childhood. Yeah, right. Anyway, I had never experienced the Jim Crow firsthand. Then one day I found myself walking past members of the Ku Klux Klan, where they spat on me, as you know, they cursed, they threatened, and this one man decided he would take a burning cigarette to my arm. The remarkable thing is, what did I write? The remarkable thing is not that it happened. The remarkable thing is that I did not flinch. Not because I was fearless and I was afraid, not because it did not hurt. It did hurt, so I was afraid, you know. But the thing is, we have been trained not to do that. But I was so happy that Capital B news agency decided to include me in the 250 stories celebrating Black history, 250 stories of Black Americans and what we contributed to America over 250 years as a part of the 250 year celebration of the democracy of America. And so when I looked up, and I didn't know I want to thank Shirley Simmons because I did not know that this story was all about me. I knew I had done it, but I didn't remember where it was going to show up. I have been doing interviews a lot, so I don't know where they show up. So I'm very happy for Capital B and for Ann Bond and for people who decided that they would do this for me. I was just taken aback by it. But anyway, and before I say, let me stop. I hate to stop like this when I am going to stop. I'm going to go to, I'm going to go here, and because you cannot give credit. You're not supposed to give partial credit. You're supposed to give credit. And I am not going to be a person who does not do that. So let me look here carefully and make sure that I had it right. Madeline Thigpen. I told her the story. Madeline Thigpen of Capital B for the record. And so I want to make sure I say that. Now I'll go back to what I had. I don't want to do things out of order. Anyway, I did not flinch. Not because it didn't hurt, because I knew something bigger than fear was walking beside me. Justice. It was all about justice. It was all about justice, purpose, history, and thousands of people who have been denied freedom. It was worth the risk. You don't want to be burned. You don't want anybody spitting on you. You don't want anybody calling you the N-word. I understand that it was something that was done among friends, but then I'm not at the time that I was doing this. I was right out of high school. I was a freshman at Spelman. They don't call us freshmen anymore, but that's what I was, a first-year student. And so I was just being a kid until I ran into a situation that said, you're not a kid, you may be a kid. You may have missed some information growing up because you were sheltered, but now you're here in the South. You're in Atlanta, you're at Spelman College, and you are not going to be going to the Woolworths, sitting at the counter, getting you a hot dog like you did in Gary, Indiana. We got something different for you down here. All them white folks you went to school with, lived in your neighborhood, you worked with, doesn't matter, because we got a different kind of white folk down here. Now, the thing is, they're probably the same kind of white folk up north, but I didn't know it because it was just given to me in a different spoon, a different flavor. It was given to me. It was given to me in a way that was palatable. You know, that we were free up in the north. We were freer. Not necessarily free, but we thought we were anyway. And we enjoyed the benefits of not having to deal with the segregation and the laws associated with it in terms of a quality of life issues, shopping and enjoying meals in restaurants. All of that we were able to have access to. But as I look back over my life, though, it was all limited. Like I said, we were sheltered and we went to the best places. But I'm sure as I look back on it now, we went to the best places in the neighborhoods that we could go into. And some of them were white. Yes, they were, and they were white people there. But it was not far north Chicago as I think about it. It definitely wasn't in Cicero. I think that's where Dr. King received his worst treatment. Was in Illinois, and it's not anything you want to be proud of, but it just brought new light to the up north bigotry that was going on. That was not obvious, but was not oblivious either. And so So I saw another photograph. That's what I want to talk about. A young black woman sitting on a train. Around her stood dozens of white supremacists. Did you see that picture? She just sitting there. You see that look? They had their faces covered. Their uniforms were matching. They were marching toward Washington, all precise. And what killed me is that if you all of that, why your face covered? You didn't see any people marching. When we marched, we didn't march with our faces covered. I was standing there, a young lady just making sure that I contributed to what I thought was making a change. That was very upset that we were being denied rights that I was used to having, not knowing those rights were even contrived or controlled in such a way. Nevertheless, I digress. I'm just saying that we didn't put masks over our faces. We just marched and we stood tall and we were proud of who we were. But these people got masks on, trying to assimilate or assimilate the Ku Klux Klan mask. So they put white masks with sunglasses on and white. Who had to buy all that? And who bought all those things and bought? Why you don't want people to know who you are? That's what I'm saying. Why don't you just tell if you're gonna be all that, then be all that. And there she was on the train, and I do not blame her for just sitting there, because I was just like, well, okay, that's what y'all want to do. Go right ahead. This is America. This is the 250th year of celebrating the experiment of democracy, and that one of the things is I can sit here have this show, and we can move about freely. We don't have to show our passports here, there, and y'all within the city and within the state. Not that may not be on the agenda, but not right now. I've enjoyed some of the freedoms of moving around the country, going where we want to go, in and out the country. But things are changing. I can see it. I can see clearly now. Yes, I can see it. And so I saw this picture of this woman, like it was brought to my attention, that she was on the train. And they were standing in the aisle next to her. And she was like, hey, she didn't flinch. And I said, I told my daughter, I said, I didn't flinch. The story that came out about me this weekend was that I didn't flinch. And I lined myself up with her in terms of she didn't flinch. I didn't flinch in 1960. And she didn't flinch in 2026. Because we don't flinch, we flourish. Let me say it again for the people in the back. I came up with, we don't flinch, we flourish. That's what we do. And I hope somebody finds that young lady, make sure she's all right, and that should be a Pulitzer Surprise picture, and she should get most of the money, because she was just sitting there looking at them. Anyway, they were trying to make a statement, trying to create fear. She wasn't afraid. If she was afraid, it was like me. I was afraid because I saw all these people, but I made up my mind that's what I was going to do, so I did it. She had somewhere to go. She was on the train for a reason. She just went on the train with them. She had somewhere to go. They got on the train in her train car, okay? And they lined up. I'm sure they had their chests all stuck out. Like, look at us, we white supremacists, you little Negro girl sitting on this train, you just don't know who you're dealing with. No, because you got your faces all covered up. We don't know that they the pastors or they CEOs or they're managers on some of these jobs we all know, or they own businesses and they don't want you to know what's really going on. I said you should take off the mask and let us all see who you are. Let us know how you feel about us. I think it'd be great. Why don't you share that information with us? I think it's wonderful. But anyway, they were trying to occupy space, and there she sat. She just sat there, looking straight ahead. She was calm. She was steady. She was unmoved. Not at all. She was like, my next stop is whatever. Y'all get off before me, or I get off before y'all. I don't know. But I bet you if I got to get off, I'm going to get off. I bet you that. And when I saw her, I immediately understood her, because 60 years may separate us, but courage recognizes courage. That's how I feel about it. Courage recognizes courage. And her not flinching, and I didn't flinch. And I had the training I had the benefit of having gone to the classes and having gone to rallies, saying that we were following a new movement by a young man by the name of Dr. Martin Luther King, and he had told us that this was all about nonviolence. And so that permeated down through 2026, apparently, because she sat there. I know what it feels like when hatred wants your attention. Oh, yeah. I know what it feels like. And hatred wanted her attention. She just sat there. I love her look. Oh, my goodness. I know what it feels like when fear is the point. The point was to make her afraid. She looked like she was afraid. But how do you look like when you look like you're afraid? Because I was afraid, but I didn't look like I was afraid. I just stood there and let you burn me. And when you finished burning me, I just kept going. Now, because I had to do this. I knew I had to get back to school. I just had too many things going on. And nobody put a gun to my head and asked me to come down there and march in front of riches. Nobody put a gun to my head. I made that choice to do it. Because I made the choice to do it, then I'm not going to be complaining about a burn. If I only said something about it here recently because people have been talking about it, so I just go ahead and talk about it. But like Charles Black said, he didn't know anything happened to anybody. Well, he was Charles Black. They were the leaders. I'm going to run to y'all and say, ooh, look what happened to me. Please. That's not what we were supposed to do. You're supposed to say, whatever happened, you signed up for it. I signed up for it, you see. And so, but I like she didn't flinch. I didn't flinch. What'd that tell you? Are we flinching in America right now? Ain't nobody flinching. No, we're not flinching at all. We're going on about our business, taking care of our families, praying, going to church, singing songs, making plans, making money, starting businesses, supporting each other. That's what we're doing. That is what we're doing. Whew. I know what it feels like to refuse to give in. You can't give in. You see, friends, courage is often misunderstood. We think courage means changing into battle. Sometimes often courage is much quieter. Sometimes courage is simply remaining seated, simply holding your placard and going on around the circle like we're supposed to do. Nobody ran to see about me in my own group because we knew. Sometimes courage is saying we will not be controlled by emotions. We were not. I love her look. Priceless. You cannot control my dignity. You burned me. I stood there. I looked you in your eye. I did. You went to the crowd, everybody laughed, and I kept walking. Y'all stood in the aisles on the train with your uniforms on, with your faces all covered, okay? And then she sat there, because her next stop was her next stop. I don't know what his stop was. The older I get, the more I realize that hate feeds on reaction. That's true. Hate wants fear. It's a hatred that is beyond anything that we all have ever witnessed. It's the hatred from enslavement. It's the hatred and genocide that's operated on us. It's that kind of hatred that permeates the breath and air. Anyway, courage quietly refuses the invitation. The Klan wanted us to stop marching. We march. The segregationists wanted us to stop demanding. We continue. The white supremacists today want visibility. Sometimes the most powerful response is to keep living your life. That is what I tell you. Keep succeeding. Keep loving. Keep building. Keep voting. Keep educating. Keep dreaming. Keep showing up without flinching. But the marchers today hid behind masks, but neither one of us was hiding. I wasn't hiding. She wasn't hiding. Our faces were visible because hate often hides. Courage usually does not. As America celebrates 250 years, we're still wrestling with old questions. Who belongs? who matters, whose freedom counts, whose story gets told, but I am encouraged because I know something the headlines may miss. Every generation produces people who refuse to flinch. The students are marching today, the teachers, the pastors. We are not flinching, we are flourishing. And that's why I love you. Yes, I do. And you can't do anything